Well, g'day and welcome to another episode of Kiwi Car Life, and you join me here on a lovely summer's afternoon where today I'm going to tell you the 5 likes and 5 dislikes of my 2006 Honda Accord Euro 6B manual. The first thing about this car that I absolutely love is the noise. With this new intake mod that I've just recently put in, which you can check out by clicking somewhere up the top there, this is an amazing sounding car, especially for a 4-cylinder. The second thing that I love about this car is the handling. With these RE003 tyres and these Tein S-Tech lowering springs, which you can check out if you click somewhere up here, this car goes through corners completely flat. It's absolutely excellent through the turns. The third thing that I really like about this car is that it is extremely comfortable. These seats are really comfortable on long journeys, and I was fearful when I put the lowering springs in that it was just going to ruin the ride comfort of this car, but it really hasn't. It is still extremely comfortable. It doesn't scrape on anything. No complaints about the ride or seat comfort at all in this car. The fourth thing that I absolutely love about this car is its timeless design. When I initially bought this car, I wasn't a huge fan of it. I was more of a fan of the newer CU2 shape that came out in 2008. However, having owned this car for a while now that I've lowered it, put some nice wheels on it, I can't say enough good things about the design of this car. I think it looks fantastic. The last thing that I really like about this car is the practicality. I've been able to get a bike in the back of this car. It seats 4 people really comfortably with plenty of legroom in the back. There's never been a time where I've felt like that I've run out of space. So the first thing I'm not a huge fan of is, while it sounds fantastic, the gear ratios are like ridiculously long. And as a result, I can see why a lot of people swap in an Accord Euro R gearbox into one of these, because it has a much shorter overall final drive. The second thing that I'm not a huge fan of is that the factory tune is awful. Let me do a little demonstration. I'm going to put it in second gear, and I'll tell you when I'm at VTEC and I'll tell you when I'm at redline. Here we go. And VTEC, redline. That's all you've got. You've got nothing in VTEC, which is why I would thoroughly recommend that you get a tune, because what the tune does is drops VTEC to 4600 RPM and increases the redline to almost 8000 RPM. And what that means is that you have over 3000 RPM in VTEC rather than just 1000, and generally makes the top end of this car a lot more fun to play with. Now, the third thing that's a little bit annoying about this car is that while this here K24 sounds fantastic, it does burn a little bit of oil. Mine burns around about 1 litre of oil every 3000 Ks or so. Now, thankfully, it does have an oil pressure monitory, sensory, whatever thing, so if the oil level does get low, it'll let you know in the gauge cluster. So you certainly won't starve this thing of oil unless you're blind, but it is a little bit annoying. The fourth thing about this car that's a little bit annoying is that the spec is less than brilliant. Here in New Zealand, Honda goes, oh, if you want a manual transmission, that's the base model, which means you get no spec. So what that means in practice is that there's no auto wipers, there's no auto lights, there's no drive modes, there's no fancy Bluetooth or Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, there's no fancy digital gauge cluster, and then just normal stuff like no leather seats, there's no electric seats, there's no memory seats, there's no heated seats. There's just really nothing on the interior of this car. The last thing that's a little bit annoying about this car is that fundamentally it's just a Honda Accord. It might be manual, which is quite rare in New Zealand, but regardless, if you're expecting to turn up to car meets and have people flocking to your car going, oh my goodness, is that a CL9 Accord Euro manual? You're going to be sorely disappointed, because really, no one really cares about a silver Honda. Well, there we go. Thank you very much for watching this episode of Kiwi Car Life, and if you want to see some more videos with early Accord, then click here to see early Accord on track, and click over here to see it when I first bought it when it was bone stock. And last of all, thank you very much for watching.